Joined right now by Wyndham Clark, Nancy Lopez, and Oliver Jack. We're going to start with Wyndham Clark on the far end. And as a junior in Denver, Colorado, he had an ace at the age of 6. He won a tournament at the age of 8. He was a 2-time winner of the Colorado State Championship. After Oklahoma State, he transferred to Oregon in 2016, where he won the Pac-12 Conference Championship. After time on the Web.com Tour, he earned a PGA Tour card in 2018-2019. This all sounding familiar? He won his first PGA Tour event in 2023 at the Wells Fargo. He won the U.S. Open a month later in LACC. And in February, he shot 60 and set a course record here at Pebble Beach en route to a win at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Please welcome Wyndham Clark. Wyndham, last night we heard the aspirations of all 80 of these juniors, which was impressive and inspirational to say the least. What was pursuing goal? What does pursuing goals mean to you? What's it about goals that sort of what makes its way into your life?
Well, first off, I'm really loud. Want to thank everyone for coming out, and this place is really special to me, and I've been in your seat. And I remember looking up to guys like Tiger Woods and Retief Goosen and even Rory McIlroy and Dustin Johnson, and they were doing panels like this, and I was in your seat, and I remember going, I want to be there someday. So just want to give you guys a note of encouragement that you can be here. So as far as that goes, goals. Every year I set up with my team and we sit down and we write down our goals. And, I used to have very result-oriented goals, and a lot of those used to be around winning. And what was funny is I was so focused on winning that I never won. And in about 2 years ago, I don't know, some people might know my story, but I decided to hire a sports psychologist, and we really dived deep into, why am I not performing at the level that I want to perform at? And one of the things was I was too result-oriented. I was too focused on winning, and I forgot about the process that helped me get to win. And so the funny thing was I switched from focusing on results and winning, and I started focusing on the process, and I started winning. And so what that means is I set goals for myself to be my best self. So that's both on the golf course and off the golf course. That's mental goals, that's physical goals, that's relationship goals, that's spiritual goals, whatever that might be. And as you improve as a person and you prove in your mental game, I just think the great golf flows from within, and you just play natural great golf. And that's kind of what I've done these last couple of years.
And not just in golf, but life as well. So
yes,
you feel
exactly.
Like that's impacted, yeah. Wyndham Clark, guys. We heard your career highlights, obviously, and I think it's important to know that it's not always easy, right? Like, I look back at your career in 2021, you finished the 21, you've been scorching hot in 2022, 2023, 2024, but in 2021, you missed the last 7 cuts in a row. Talk about growth through challenge. Talk about what you learned in that process of sort of having to dig deep and figure out what was going wrong.
What year? So that was 2022, you said?
2021.
2021. So, yeah.
You buried that, man.
Everything's been, yeah, mental game, get over it. The crazy thing about golf is you get so consumed with the score and what you shoot, and I fall subject to that even now. And in 2021 and 2022 even, I was so attached to my score. I was so attached to what that meant and how my game felt that it bled into my personal life. And, that's not good. It's not healthy. And it also makes you resent the game and want to not, love and want to play the game all the time. And there's times I wanted to quit. And to miss 7 cuts in a row, that's not a great place to be. It's a dark spot to be. And you start questioning everything. You start trying new things, new swing thoughts. You start searching. And one thing that really helped me was to find my absolutes and things that helped me be successful. And so you focus on those things and you focus on the process. And so when things go bad and you miss cuts or you play bad in a tournament, you got to go back to, okay, what's my process that helps me be successful? And you double down on that process. And when you do that, you're always one shot or one round away from great golf. And if you can truly believe that, you turn around those bad stretches or bad rounds or bad shots into good shots, into great rounds. And the one thing I always say, and it's always one of my daily goals, is the next shot could be my best shot. Just because maybe I hit a lot of bad shots before doesn't mean that my next shot can't be great. And so I always focus on the next shot being the best. And I think if you have that mindset, not only in golf, but in life, you're really going to flourish.
Love it. Wyndham Clark. She doesn't need much introduction, really, quite honestly, but I'm going to do it anyway. She won the New Mexico State Amateur Championship at the age of 12. She played high school golf with and against the boys team at a time when there weren't a lot of girls' high school golf teams. At the University of Tulsa, she was back-to-back first-team All-American. She was the Female Athlete of the Year in 1977. She turned pro shortly after. She was the LPGA Rookie of the Year in 1978, and she went on to win 48 LPGA tournaments, 3 major championships. She was inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame and the LPGA Hall of Fame in 1987. Please give a warm welcome to Emcee Lopez. Emcee, we were talking a little bit offline over there about, and we're talking about teenagers and what it's like to grow up in today's society and with all the pressures of social media. And I can only imagine what you went through at the time in which it wasn't sort of commonplace to have powerful, successful female athletes, and you were literally playing against the boys. Talk about what building a positive self-identity meant to you at that time and now.
Well, welcome everyone. It's fun to be here with the juniors. I remember when I was in those seats too, watching people that I idolized. The thing about being positive came a lot from my dad. He made me feel like I could do anything. And I think we have to remind ourselves that we can. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't reach a goal or you can't do something. My dad always told me that my word was all I had, and if I was a good person, an honest person, that I would go far in life. And I think I had to remember that, especially being a Hispanic girl growing up and trying to find my way. But because my dad was so positive, I always thought positive. It's amazing how when there's a negative happening, a positive you can make out of that. So as I played golf, my dad had a lot of little anecdotes, and when I was playing, I started at age 8. When I would play, and he could see that I would get angry, because at age 8, of course, I wasn't that good, but I wanted to be better. I have to just share one quick story. When I was 8 years old, my dad put me, I started playing golf about 7 and a half. My dad put me in a Pee Wee tournament in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it was 9 holes, 3 days, 9 holes each day, and I was shooting 65 to 69 for 9 holes, and I won by 110 shots. So I got really positive quick.
Positive.
But as I played golf, my dad saw me growing and didn't want me to have a bad temper, because when we have a bad temper, we do not play better. And he would ask me when I'd have those days, do you want to shoot 39 or you want to shoot 40? I said, well, Dad, I want to shoot 39. And he says, well, when you get mad, you shoot 40. And that really hit me as a young person. Even though it was one shot, I liked the number 39 more than I did the number 40. So whenever I was out there playing, always give 100%. That's all that matters. If you know when you step off the 18th green and you look back and say, did I give 100%? You have to be able to answer that yes, because someone out there is going to beat you. You're not going to win every tournament, but if you give 100%, that's all that matters, and that's how you walk away with that, with a positive attitude.
Amazing. Emcee Lopez, guys. You also shared a story with me about, part of your relationship with this particular venue, and going back to the age of 15, in which you got that invite. Tell us that story and how that impacted you.
Well, I got to play Pebble Beach when I was 15 years old, and I know probably none of you young people know who Bing Crosby was. Yeah? Oh, those are the old people. But I was invited at 15, and another young girl, 15, Marianne Brenton was her name. We played on the amateur golf, and Bing Crosby invited us to come and play in his Pro-Am. So I got to play with a professional, and it was so exciting because my practice round was with Arnold Palmer and Mark McCormick, who was one of the top agents with IMG, or he owned IMG and was one of the top agent firms at that time. So I got to meet Arnold at age 15, and you know, when you're young, don't be nervous. Go out there and show him how good you are. And that's what I tried to do. I wanted to show Arnold how good I was. I don't know how good I really was then, but I was just going to try my best to do that.
How'd that go?
I think I hit it pretty good. I was probably hitting my driver about 210, 215 at that time. And when the wind blew, I remember hitting to number 17. We were dead into the wind. Had to be a 5-club wind. It was so long. I hit my driver, and I think I was halfway there.
Any notable comments from Arnold Palmer on that day or anything?
Well, from that day, I met Arnold, and as my career grew, I got to do a lot of things with Arnold and signings, and we had golf club companies together. And I mean, he was my idol, and really sad that he's not here anymore because he became a great friend and a mentor to me.
To Arnold Palmer, obviously former owner of Pebble Beach. All right, next to me is Oliver Jack. As a junior in Colorado, he set a state record for a low round. He won a state championship. He received 45 offers for college scholarships. He ultimately decided on University of Colorado, and much like many of you in the front row here, he had ambitions of playing on Sunday. But in the summer between his high school and his college years, Oliver was struck by a drunk driver. He was in a coma. He had multiple surgeries, and his dad told me we didn't think he'd make it. But he did, and he's sitting next to us right now. Please welcome Oliver Jack.
Thank you, Matt. Before I answer, I'd also like to thank the First Tee, Steve John, and Pure Insurance for inviting me here today. Thank you. I would like to mention that you might notice me reading my notes. It's because my brain injury constantly challenges me, and my memory sometimes feels like a shank off the tee. Okay, we like that. That's some laughing. That's some laughing. As some of you know, I suffered a traumatic brain injury back in 2018, right after graduating high school. My dreams were to become a professional golfer. But instead of, after my injury, I found myself relearning the basics like talking, walking, and feeding myself, let alone being able to compete on the golf course. My motivation then was to get back to the old me so I could play golf the way I used to. But when I finally realized that this was never going to happen, my focus started to change from getting back to giving back. I began to understand that life's challenges, no matter what they are, aren't about trying to change the past, but really about moving forward.
Who better to speak about growth through challenge, obviously, than Oliver Jack? What about, Oliver, what about pursuing goals?
Well, pursuing goals is one of the things that drives many of us, right? Due to my injury, my goals had become so simple. They were no longer about having the perfect round. They had shifted from my talent being my purpose to my purpose being my talent. Look, I'm never going to be the golfer I was, but if through my injury I can support someone else in being their best, then I'm doing my best too. And because of that, I created Positivity as a platform for others to find their purpose too. It is a nonprofit focused on inspiring youth and young adults through inclusion and kindness. Our mission statement is to empower those struggling with anxiety, depression, trauma, and neurological issues. We were fortunate to have a very successful fundraiser this first year, raising nearly $400,000, and were able to support the First Tee in doing so. I look forward to our continued collaboration.
Oliver, what about positive self-identity? Building positive self-identity. What's that mean to you?
I think having a strong sense of self is hard these days. My identity back then was so wrapped up in being a golfer and where I was going with that, and then one day it was all gone. Not only the talent I had, but the me I knew was gone. My recovery was incredibly painful and felt impossible at times. I remember just enough about my previous life that I knew what I had lost was devastating. But in the process, I found a new me. And by accepting my accident, I accepted me. I can't control how people see me today, whether they see me as different from them or not. But what I can control is how I am. I made the choice to dig in and go for it against all odds. There's a quote I'd like to share that continues to inspire me, and it is said by one of the greatest leaders, Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done.
Ladies and gentlemen, Oliver Jack. I encourage you to get a standing ovation to Oliver Jack. This is a guy who's overcome a lot more than we can possibly imagine. As his father said, we didn't think he was going to make it, and now he's turned this negative into an incredible positive. And I think it's a lesson to all of us. Thank you. And thank you, Oliver. I don't think we want to let these guys go without getting a few more final thoughts. Wyndham, obviously you set the course record here at Pebble Beach. You shot 60. I would imagine you have a few tips somewhere in your notebook, somewhere in that brain of yours that you can share with some of these people that are going to be out there competing this week. How do you play Pebble Beach?
The biggest thing is to try to stay below the hole. I look back at that day and I made a lot of amazing putts and probably the best putting round of my life, and I may never top it. But one common thing is almost every putt I had was uphill, and so you're able to hit it. These greens are so sloped, and you get above it, it's so much faster than you think, and even if you get pinned high, they break so much. So if you could try to keep yourself kind of just below it, that's big. And then, one thing, whenever I remember when I was in high school, I sometimes feared going low and shooting low numbers, and you kind of got comfortable at a certain number. And that day I challenged there's so many mental hoops when you shoot a low score. I mean, even though everything's firing physically, you have to still be very strong mentally. And that day I found myself 9 under through 10 holes, and the only thing you can think about is, wow, I have a chance to shoot a really low number, and the famous number 59, and then you think of where you are and you're at Pebble Beach, and so that became the biggest hurdle in the last 7-8 holes, was not getting too far ahead of myself. And it's amazing when your mind jumps ahead or it goes backwards, but if you can really come back to that present and go, okay, what do I do on this next shot? What do I need to do? And I was so proud of myself because I made a bogey on 12, and then I went to 13 and 14 and followed up with birdies, and I said, wow, it's amazing what you can do with your mind. So when you're out there, if good things or bad things happen, just always believe you can continue to make great shots and great putts. And there's some nerve-wracking tee shots, but just trust what you guys know you can do. And one thing as well is that I've learned in high pressure moments is to have a go-to shot. And so I remember standing up on 18, and I hit a cut. So that 18 tee shot is a nightmare for a cutter. You got water left and out of bounds right, and I have a chance to shoot 59. I have a chance to win the tournament, and I remember sitting there going, you know what, my go-to shot's a cut, and I just got to trust to aim left over the water and cut it back. And that might sound crazy, but that's my go-to shot. And so I've done it in many tournaments. And for you, it might be a draw, it might be a low shot, it might be a high shot, but come up with a go-to shot. And I remember hitting that on 18, and it's funny. I walked off that tee, and to myself, I was so pumped because I said, I stayed in the shot, I pulled it off, and it's amazing those little things. And it might seem small, but you find yourself in another big moment later, and you lean on those moments. And that's how I like to play Pebble.
Pull it off. Sounds so easy.
Well, that day it was.
Wyndham is on a buddies trip with a group of of his family and friends. His father is celebrating a 70th birthday. They walked up and finished out here on 18. How about a round of applause for Randall Clark's 70th birthday? Nancy, as we get to closing here, if you were to look back and you look in the faces of these teenagers here in front of you, if you were to sit down with the 17-year-old Nancy Lopez, what advice would you have for her prior to going out and embarking on kind of a week like this?
Always be positive. I always will say that. When you're out there playing golf, my dad always said, when you have a backswing, you have a chance. Always remember that. You're going to miss shots, and after you miss a shot, it's the attitude that you take to the next shot. If you take the bad attitude of being angry after that last shot, you don't want to do that. So walk up to the next shot with your head up, not your chin down, and get over that shot and just do the best you can. Make your best swing. But don't let a bad shot lead you to playing more bad golf. It's good to think positive. It's good to stand over that shot and say, I can do this. And you'll be surprised how that works if you keep trying it every day and never give up. Like I said, give 100% and just do your best. There were days when I wasn't playing great, but I always kept trying, and instead of shooting a 78, I could shoot a 75.
That's amazing. Nancy Lopez. Oliver, do you want one final word to the kids as they embark out on what they're about to experience tomorrow and throughout the week?
Yeah, I think enjoying the now. It doesn't matter what you're going to do later on. If you don't help where you are now, then I think that's my advice. I think it's very, obviously I know you guys are all great golfers and I applaud you for that. I think for me, I was so focused on the now, and then I had to reel myself back and realize, no, I gotta put that in, you know? So I think just enjoying who you're golfing with, enjoying right now, that would be my best advice for you guys. So thank you.
I just want to thank again Wyndham Clark, Nancy Lopez, and Oliver Jack for being with us this evening. This is a magical time in your lives. I know, where you're at, and I know what you're about to embark on, and I look forward to watching this all transpire. And again, there's only going to be one winner, so to speak, but you're all winners, and I just want to congratulate you for what you've done to get to where you are right now is something that you should all appreciate and feel very good about. And good luck on everything that's going to happen, not only this week, but in life in general. And like I said, you restore our faiths in humanity. So thank you for all you're doing. Keep going and smile while you're doing it.
Thank you, Matt Ginella. What a phenomenal panel. Inspirational to all of us. Thank you, Matt. Round of applause for Matt, please. And to Oliver, Nancy, and Wyndham, thank you so much for being part of this. Great stories. You're an inspiration to all of us. And I'd like to round of applause for our 80 juniors, please. Standing ovations, please. The remarkable juniors. They're having a great week. And lastly, I want to thank all of you that make this possible. Your commitment to the first tee does not go unnoticed, and it's providing a lot of money that they are doing wonderful work at the First Tee National and wonderful work at First Tee Monterey County. So thank you. Have a fantastic week. Thank you, Pebble Beach. Thank you, First Tee.
I know.